Trav, you muted. You muted, baby. You don't see the speaker.
Nah. Dude, no, see, that's the thing. Like, that's the crazy thing. Like on my screen, it froze. So I don't know if the song was playing. It just started freezing. So I'm like, what's actually happening? So when I see it hit 33 seconds, I know it's 30 seconds. So once I see it hits like 33 seconds, I'm like, wait a minute. So I started. Well, anyway, greetings, most honorable listeners and masters of the martial arts. I am Travis,
and I'm Chris,
and this is CTE, and this is going to be an experience for you. Now, yeah, I know you guys are probably like, wait, we're having to. I'm Big Los. Yeah, and he's not here today. So yeah, that's it. I think he's. I don't know if he's still in Florida or not, but I think so.
I think he's still in Florida.
He's still in Florida. He probably flew back tonight or something like that.
or he's on the plane. Yeah, because I know he had a thing to do. Masked.
Yeah, the martial arts. I forgot all that stuff is.
Yeah, I forgot the acronym, but it's the masked thing.
Yes, the seminars for people, school owners, and and like a trade show type thing for people to come down there and
in Tampa, I think.
Yeah, and network and all that good stuff. So yeah, good weather. Now he's flying back. It's cold
northern New York weather.
Yeah, but all right. Since it's the last day of Black History Month, I'm going to play. As a saxophone player and saxophone lover, she killed it. I'm gonna let it rock for the rest of the later. I'm gonna let it rock out. Anyway, so with that being said, there's not much to talk about this weekend besides. Oh, we are sponsored by the Virtual Fight Tour.
Yeah.
And Virtual Fight Tour just happened this past weekend, and we're gonna be heavy on this Virtual Fight Tour 6.
Yeah.
A lot happened. Who's next? All that good stuff. All that good stuff. Hey, I had to burp, man. It happens when it happens. But yeah, Chris, you didn't get to see it.
I was missed. Hopefully I was missed.
Yeah, of course you were missed, man.
I missed it, man.
I mean, it was okay. First thing, it was a lot of things that you missed out on this one because a lot happened.
Yeah,
not just the fights, but we actually used a completely different system.
Oh,
so it was no Zoom this time.
Oh,
everything was controlled right there on the spot up there in New Jersey, New York, up there. So everything was controlled up there. So I literally had nothing to do. Like I didn't have to say, hey, change this or do this or that. I literally was just kind of sitting back. I didn't I didn't get on until like 5. I was ready, but they just weren't ready yet. So I didn't get on until about 5. And they just ran through. So that's probably where the awkwardness comes in. If you guys did stick to the end of Virtual Fight Tour 6, it just ended. Like literally, we had finished the interview and it just ended. Like
click.
All gone. No, no
wrap ups. No. Oh wow.
It just froze. It was like I don't know what to do. But well, you know, like I said before, like it's always something that goes on when you have a live broadcast. It's always something different that. And when you're in the beginning stages of it, just like you saw with ProPoint with the sound thing that was going on last one, 4.3, it's just certain things that happen.
Yeah, there's always going to be something little hanging up until everything gets, or you hire sound engineers and pay a ton of money for it.
Yeah, and even then, it's still going to be certain things that go on. Like starting your show and not knowing that the intro has ended. It's like, I think this is it. And then the next thing you know, and yeah, that's the crazy thing. That's why I was still muted. So whenever the intro goes on, you stay muted. They mute you. So it's like, all right, what's going on? Why you can't hear me? So I had to unmute myself. This whole thing was just interesting. All right. Let's get to where a lot of people probably want to know. Chris was not there.
Not.
He was not there. He sent out a message to Jesse and I at like what 2:45.
Yeah, 2:30,
something like that.
Yeah, I sent you one earlier, but because I was trying to work on it and how to figure out how to get to be able to do it, and then I had some personal things that I had to take care of that unfortunately left me otherwise inconvenienced.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, okay. So I started thinking about it. I was like, let me call Jeff and see if Jeff can do it. And Jeff was like, Jeff, what are you doing? He was like, I'm at a soccer game watching my girlfriend's kid play soccer. What's up? I'm like,
never mind.
Yeah, I was like, well, Chris can't do the show tonight. I was gonna see if you can. He was like, I probably will not be able to do that. Probably won't get back until it's time to actually see it. And I'm like, all right. So then I just started going through my mental Rolodex about who I can get to sit across from me, because Los was down there in Florida. You were in Florida. So I was like, oh, Mallory.
Boom.
And Mallory Woods jumped in at last minute. I was so happy he was able to do it.
Yeah, that's cool. I rock with Mallory. Yeah.
Because I had look, if it was going to be.
You were in jiu-jitsu? I was just like, oh, man, I wonder what Travis is going to be thinking about this jiu-jitsu stuff. He'd be like, he's rolling on the ground. He's on the top. Now he's on the bottom.
Yeah, pretty much. He's trying to do something with his arm. It's like, he's doing something. He's on top. He's something going on. Uh-oh. There go the arm going over there. That's something happening. But, no, Mallory stepped in and it helped out a lot. So,
awesome.
Thank you, Mallory, for the last minute assist. Yeah. So, let's get right into it, I guess.
Let's do it.
Let's get right into it. All right. So we opened up. We did the interviews, and it was interesting doing the interviews.
Yeah.
This was the biggest one they had, which we had 11 fights.
11.
So, and it was different coaches. Not every fight, but it was
for most of it, right?
Yeah, that's almost like, I think it was somewhere around 17, 18. So we always do the coaches interview at the beginning.
Yep.
Dude, it took about 20 something minutes to do those interviews. Because it was just like somebody else had to get in the chair and talk. And like the grappling, I didn't know who was coaching who. We gave it the name. I didn't know who the person was, so I didn't know what the person looked like. So I'm like, so who are you? What's your name? And then I think at one point I got the guy's name wrong. I kept calling him the wrong.
Oh Lord!
Kept calling him Luan, and his name was like Walter. I was like,
like, hey, that's not my name, right, homie?
At the end, he's like, I'm Walter. I was like, oh, I'm sorry, but hey, okay. But yeah,
said that at the beginning. Don't let me sit there and call you the wrong name for 20 minutes.
I was calling the wrong. Because I don't think he was I don't think he had an accent, so I don't know if he was like
catching it.
Yeah, so I was like, I don't know where. Like he might have just kind of missed it. So it was interesting. But then we got into the first fight, which was Jeremiah Alvarez versus.
No, I thought William and Pizon. The grappling fight was first, right?
Nope.
Oh,
this is out of order. Yeah, yeah. Black Belt got this out of order. Nope. Jeremiah, the juniors were first. Jeremiah and Griffin. Yeah. They were first. It was a bad outing for Griffin.
Okay.
I mean, it was pretty evident at the first
couple of exchanges.
Yeah. This was not something that was going to be pretty. And as a commentator, you kind of just got to point out certain things, but
to help.
Yeah, it was. Jeremiah had control the whole time, and then like at the beginning of the fight, Griffin is taller, and so he was kind of skipping up. He was skipping up that back leg a little bit, but also his front leg was not. He wasn't spacing correctly.
Okay,
he was too close on the line. He wasn't spacing correctly. He was skipping up that back leg.
Was he kicking the hit? Was he
No,
like,
that was the third thing. He was not kicking ahead. So all three things it just allowed.
that's detrimental to a kicker. If you're tall already and you're going to kick, if you're not actually kicking to hit and monitoring your space, that
Yeah,
that could be a long night. I can understand.
It was a long night, and honestly, I take my hat out to Jeremiah because in the second round he kind of pulled back and just kind of he was up by so much it didn't make a difference at that point.
Okay.
And he was able to move and use the cage, and the whole time he just kept stepping in and hitting the young man.
Okay. So it gives him a show that he has some ring management about him, and he has some awareness and some.
Yeah,
that's cool.
It was pretty. And the thing I liked about Jeremiah is that he didn't switch it up really. Like he rode the step in back fist.
Yeah. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
He wanted to. Yeah, I think it was like once or twice that Griffin caught him with a side kick, but for the most part, Jeremiah was just had total control of that fight. And then it was Serafina versus Brasida.
Okay.
Ortega.
Yes.
This was different in the sense that it was similar, but at the same time different. So Serafina came in and she was very energetic. Like she was bouncing like so hype. And she got off on Brasida at the beginning of the fight, got a big lead, and she was riding the reverse punch blitz, just pushing off, boom, catching Brasida. Brasida wasn't able to get her leg ready to try and catch her with the side kicks or even get off offensively or anything else. At the beginning of the match, Serafina had more energy and she was controlling the match. I don't know if Serafina got tired. I don't know if somebody said, "Hey, dial it back a little bit." But whatever the case may be, or I can't remember if Brasida just started catching her, but Brasida started coming back, and Serafina's energy wasn't the same because I think she was still throwing her body punch, but sometimes she was doing it from too far away, and she was getting caught. She got caught.
Yeah, and that'll create a hesitation.
Yep, and then the momentum kind of shifted, and Brasida started coming back, started coming back. I can't remember how much Serafina was up, but she was up by probably 5 points maybe, and Brasida just started chopping away at the lead. And unfortunately, I don't remember the score during all of this because the score at that point, there was some kind of technical difficulties and the score wasn't on the screen during the first two matches. And because of that, I couldn't track who had it, but I knew the momentum had shifted and Brasida was coming back.
Okay, right.
And based off the angles, I saw Serafina had scored a couple, but it went the other way, based off of where the judges were.
Right, judges placement. Yep.
And so I was like, oh, all right. But in the second round, it was kind of like a back and forth and who was going to take it. And once it got really close, I could tell it got really close because Serafina picked up her energy and started pushing again toward the end of the match and ended the match kind of the same way she started with the energy and won. So that was that fight. Very good job, Serafina and Brasida Ortega. They did a real good job. Shout out to Jim Fish. He's listening to everything we do. So shout out to you, Jim. Yeah.
I was like, she looks super familiar. This picture from the Battle of Atlanta is like, I know her. I watched her fight. Like, I didn't know I knew her, but I do. Yeah.
Yep.
That's cool.
And then we get if I'm not mistaken, that's when we get William and Penzin. Beltran.
Yeah.
And
I really like the 3-3-minute rounds. And I really like that the match isn't necessarily over on one sub. You get to see jujitsu. You get to see a little bit. Now, pure jujitsu, if you tap somebody out, the fight's over. But I like this as a spectator, as a viewing. And sometimes you just get caught by somebody real quick. And it's an error, and you're feeling out, and this way you get to see who's at the end of the term. Most of the time, if you go for multiple subs and you win by more than 1 point, you're pretty in control.
Well, that was the interesting thing about this one is because I got confused because when it happened the first time because it ended the first round it
First
happened
round, yeah.
and then they continue going. I was like, wait, what's going on? Why are they continuing? Because he just tapped. But I guess it's just you can, like you said, they just can't.
Yeah, they do the rules where it's the first. It's like first to 5 or total at the end for point control. Because I mean, a lot of that, as a spectator, you can get a 30-second match. It's not like a point match where you get to have that back and forth. Oh, you got me this time. Let me see if I can make my adjustments and catch you with something different. It's a different sport, so I think feeding into tagging it along with what we do in point fighting to kind of garnish and pick up points for that. I think that was a really good and a smart move for them.
It was interesting because I started learning some stuff when Mallory was talking.
Okay.
About who was in, the dominant position and who was in full guard and who's passing the guard and he's got side control. And the reason why he doesn't have full side control is because his knee is there. And I'm like, oh shoot, I'm understanding stuff right now. I'm a quick learner. So I'm gonna keep watching these things. I'm gonna do it. But the thing that stood out here was the size difference.
Yeah, 30 pounds, it says. Jeez.
Yeah. It was, and that was evident because he could break anything he wanted, and he was just.
That's a 30-pound difference in a jiu-jitsu or a wrestling or an MMA fight versus a 30-pound difference in a point fight is a huge advantage. And I know this is a last minute, fill-in fight for, but for Mario. But this is that 30 pounds is a lot. That's very, very difficult without being like a belt advantage or something. That's even with a belt advantage, sometimes 30 pounds is too much to overcome.
Yeah. And it showed William was in control of that whole fight. It was just evident, clear. He was always literally pretty much on top. And then he would switch and get his back. Yeah, I think he choked him out a couple times, once or twice. I'm not sure twice. No, once he did. But it was just a huge size difference for Pinzo to try and overcome.
Yeah, and I was thinking that because I thought it was going to be good for like Mario because Mario's I think he was a little smaller than I was. I thought he was going to be bigger, the pictures and stuff, but he was like a little bit small, like lighter than I was. So I was looking forward to seeing 2 lighter guys have that opportunity. But we get that next or in a few.
Nope. But what happened next was, to me, was interesting. And we gonna have to talk about this fight, which is Kevin Muniz versus Juwan White.
Oh right. Yeah. All right. We pre-showed this. Can't wait.
Yeah. So I'm gonna give the facts about what happened, and then
an opinion,
and then I'm gonna say why he lost.
Okay.
There's a reason why he lost, because I thought the same thing, that the judges should have went to Kevin because of what he did. All right. So in this fight, first round to me was clear that Juwan was winning. He clearly won the first round. He was more in control. He threw the cleaner punches and kicks. Kevin was trying to come off the back leg or whatever, but Juwan just kind of pointed him basically. He outpointed him, just pop in and out, did what he needs to do. Kicks continuous, did some, and he was circling the ring. Kevin was was basically chasing him a little bit, and Juwan just had control of the whole first round. Second round comes. Okay. Kevin picks up the pace. At this point, Kevin starts to be a little bit more aggressive. He starts to go at Juwan, and Juwan is still pointing. But at this time, I thought Kevin was taking the control back from Juwan. And with about 20 seconds left, Juwan goes down he said it was something like under his arm or towards his heart or whatever, in that area in his chest, somewhere in his chest, he had some kind of issue, and he just went down. And as I watched him, I was thinking, he doesn't necessarily look hurt as he does look tired. He looks tired right now. I don't know if he got gas in his chest. I don't know what it is, but he looks tired right now. Because at that point, Kevin was in control of the match. He had warned him, he had walked him down. He was picking him up. He was in control. And Jawan, before that, you could tell when somebody's tired. Like he looked tired. He did not look like he was throwing, like had the energy or the bounce. He was just.
Now, did it look like he got caught with something? And
there was a sidekick.
Okay.
There was a sidekick at one point, maybe a minute into the round, or 45. I don't know, minute 45 seconds, somewhere around there. In the middle of that round, it looked like he got it, and then like 20 seconds later, he goes down. Right. I don't think it was right away.
Right. It wasn't the same
right away. But it was a little bit later, and then he went down. So I was watching at that, and so then they stood him up, and then they called out who won that second round, and it was no, because matter of fact, when he got up, he didn't look like anything was wrong with his chest. He didn't look tired. He had his energy back again, and he was down for a minute. He was down. It wasn't like he went down for like 10 seconds. He was down there. They had the medic coming in and look at him. Okay. And the medic didn't really check him. He was just talking to him. And he was just looking back and he talking. And so then after that, he gets up and his whole fight changes. He's aggressive again. He's throwing punches and kicks. He's got like his wind back basically at this point. And I'm thinking to myself like, okay, this isn't a point fight. I want to see how virtual fight the judges are going to judge this. Right. So at the end of that round, it was 10-9 for Kevin. So which effectively made it 19-19. Right.
Tie score. 1 round to 1.
And so at this point, now the judges, I guess the rule is the judges will pick a winner.
Okay.
So they had them turn around, go back, and the judges.
Old school.
They did the old school. Just show of hands, and evidently all three went to Kevin. So I'm not the only one who looked at it and said Jawan's tired.
Had this been a third round, I don't think he would have survived. And that's when it's a tie score, you got to go into something like that and continue.
And that's what happened. He looked at it, and I think the judges looked at it and said, "Oh, he's tired. That's why he's not." If we're going to say that this person is better in shape because they were ready. Right. And they did the whole fight. They didn't take off for that 1 minute or whatever, because when he came back, he was in control of the fight again. If he was in shape, I think Jawan would have controlled that fight the whole time and won the fight easily.
Okay.
But he wasn't. He got tired in that second round. The pressure Kevin came with just took him down. Like it just is what it is.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah. So I was like, oh shoot, okay.
Go ahead, right.
Kevin. Yep. So congratulations, Kevin. Make sure if you're gonna fight people, we have said this about every virtual fight tour. This is different when you're doing multiple rounds.
Yo, gas tank full. Show up with a full tank of gas. Do not come halfway. See, I almost rhymed that. Don't come in. You got more than one round. You got if you train. Listen. If you come in for a 2-round fight, be ready for 5.
Mm-hmm.
You come in for a 3-round fight, you better be training for 8. Like it's a different, because that adrenaline dump, that nerve, that pressure, that the rate in which you're throwing your techniques and moving and getting out of the way because what they're throwing back, that's completely different than training sessions. So yeah. If it ain't been said before, it's going to keep being said here on this show. Cardio is king. Because when you punch and kick better than I do, but you get tired faster than I do, it's not looking good for you.
It's not going to be well. You're not going to end well. End the fight better than you start the fight, okay?
Yes.
So then we move on to Shaq and Abaya.
Oh, Shaq and Abaya were next. Okay.
Yeah, there was like a little break in between. Like we had like a sponsor video, and then we go to Shaq and Abaya. I think Shaq had control of this fight the whole entire time.
Okay.
Although it was not like a blowout, it was not super close either. I think
That's a
Shaq
4
kind of had
yeah.
the control the whole time, like 2-3 point lead, but you always just felt like Shaq was in control. Abaya,
They said Bayer jumped out and started off strong with the lead, right? He jumped out with the early lead.
maybe, I don't know. They said Williams jumped out to an early lead in the first round. And when you say early, it must have been very early.
Okay, first minute or so.
Yeah, like very first, because from what I remember Shaq. Even though Abaya, I think Abaya had got some points, even though I thought Shaq should have got the point.
Okay, so
you know what I mean? Like, but it was still
angles and all that.
Yeah. So I still think that Shaq looked like the more
control, like you said that. Yeah, you
fighter.
can tell. Yeah, you can tell.
But matter of fact, no. Let me take that back. The beginning of the fight, they were trading.
Okay.
They were trading, going back and forth, if I remember correctly, because it was close. And I was like, oh shoot, Abaya, and then Shaq fell on Abaya.
Yes,
and he had like a knee thing, right?
Yeah, he had surgery like within the last year and a half or something like that on his knee,
and it kind of made it like
changed it up a little.
Yeah, but then
changed.
Abaya started being predictable in the sense that he was switching back and forth, and when he switched one side, he was going to punch, and he switched the other side, he was going to kick, and it was just it was just clear.
Come on, Abaya.
It was super clear, like, okay, but at least throw something on the other side to like switch it up or something. But no, it was super clear when he was doing it. And that in the second round, I think that he started. But when he switched, he couldn't kick like the when he should when he fell on his knee, or because he fell a couple times. Okay. There was a couple times, and there's a couple times I think was it that fight that the cage came into play in the sense that they had nowhere to go, and another person scored. You know what I mean? Like they backed him up into that cage, and there's nowhere to go, and then they got him. But it was an entertaining match, but it had a lot of stops in it because Abaya kept getting having injuries, like falling. I think Shaq fell on him one time, and there was another one that was really weird where I think Shaq's leg came down awkward because like he kicked and he kind of came down awkward and landed on Abaya's. Yeah, it was something weird.
I hate when that happens. That's one of the worst.
Yeah, it was weird, but Shaq was throwing some haymakers too. Shaq was hitting him. Yeah, Shaq was hitting him a few times.
I knew
so
that.
It was like, oh, all right, but Shaq ended up getting the win out of that. But I mean, to me, he looked to me like the cleaner fighter in that one. Abaya kind of looked a little bit off. So, congratulations, Shaq, on that match.
Hey, Abaya, you should be coming on Sundays now. I love to see you. Just saying.
Then the next one, this fight was very short but entertaining.
Is this the Robert and Daryl fight?
This is the Robert and Daryl.
Ooh, the Florida boys don't play.
This is where people ended up talking about. Instantly, people were online talking about this particular fight.
Oh yeah, this one was blowing up my timeline.
Yeah,
this one was blowing up my timeline.
So, Robert versus Daryl. Robert blitz.
Yes.
Scored. Daryl hit him.
Okay.
In my opinion, it was. I wouldn't say it was a lot late, but when you get scored on, and then you're gonna exchange. It's just a regular exchange.
Yeah. Bink,
right?
Wow. Yeah.
Robert goes down.
Okay.
Onto one knee. Right.
Right.
Nothing crazy. It wasn't like malicious or anything but he did have to go down to one knee. Which and that was the first exchange. That set the tone of the fight.
Yeah,
right.
We talked about this on a previous show. Yeah,
that set the tone of the fight. Then right after that, I think Daryl came off the line, scored, pop, hit him, like gave combos, and then it became a trade fest. Like they were like, it was interesting because Daryl looked good. He looked amped. He looked ready for this fight. He looked good. They started going back and forth. And to me, I thought Daryl was kind of in control of the match. Although it was a close fight, I thought Daryl looked like he was going to be the one to pull it out unless Robert could change and get like 2, 3, 4 points in a row.
Okay.
I thought Daryl was still the person who was kind of in control of that match because I think they were, because there was certain times like where he would go forward and he just kind of looked like he was like, I'm in control, like I'm taking this, right? But then Robert would just kind of just do his thing and then pop, blitz him real quick. So at this point, it's 7-7. And this is where I think it was it a spin like kick or something to like towards Daryl's back, but it didn't score, but it looked like it scored. Okay. But they didn't call stop. And then Daryl kept coming in and they had an exchange. Like our angle, we couldn't see if what happened, and I didn't hear them say like stop or anything. It was just like an exchange, and Daryl stepped back and then just went down. He stepped back and then just kind of just went down and kind of laid there. And I was like, oh, so because there was no replay, so it was just kind of like,
right. You're fighting to see what you can.
Yeah, it's like, wait, did he hit him with something? Because it was kind of like an exchange. It didn't look like it was anything like malicious, but pop, 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 and he went back and kind of went down. But they had been hitting each other the whole fight. So,
so it's like another fight we talked about.
Yeah, so they had been hitting each other the whole fight. So it was not like this came out of nowhere. They had been hitting each other the whole fight, right? And so I was curious as to what was going to happen because it was clear that Daryl shouldn't continue to fight. Okay. That was clear. Okay. Like when he got up and they were checking him, they had to undo his helmet and all this other stuff. It was clear that Daryl shouldn't continue to fight. I think the medic made the call, and I believe what ended up happening was on that exchange, they gave Robert the point because when they did say stop at one point, they were pointing. They were pointing toward Robert, so it was already 7-7. So technically, that would have gave it 8-7, right. And that is why I believe that
came down to no can't finish the fight, but we're going to end it at the score that it was at.
Yep, and that is
if they deem it non-malicious and whatever, and there's a fighter who can't continue. I mean, it's not an illegal blow. It's not malicious. It wasn't to me. It wasn't. I didn't hear when they actually said stop, so I didn't hear them say because it was just an exchange. Pop, pop, pop. Right. Yeah. So I mean, it's weird. Like I said, I don't. We talked about it before. I'm not really sure how I feel about how that went down with the knockout thing. Moving into the general terms,
well, in general, it should be
either a no contest. If it's non-malicious, then it should be a no contest, and it's neither fighter wins or loses, or a DQ. When we're looking across the board in our sport and what we're doing, it's gonna happen.
I do think that's where we
are gonna have to move to a unified rule for at least that portion sooner or later.
Yeah, that just because of if we're not penalizing for knockouts. Right.
If you're not penalizing for knockouts, that means you're technically saying knockouts are allowed.
Correct.
You're not rewarding them, but you're also not
penalizing them. So like you have to kind of say, we may need to.
Sorry if you're not in control of everything, accidents do happen. Now the only thing that I can kind of continue with that is if it's a body shot.
Yes. If it's a body shot, then it's just like, dude.
Yeah. Listen, we're grown.
I get it.
Ribs hurt. Listen, I've broken them. I get it.
Yeah, like
we'll be all right. We'll be all right.
You'll be all right. It's not concussion protocol here.
We're grown men.
You know what I mean? So I kind of like if it's a headshot and it's a knockout in that fashion, then we probably need to be looking at it from that standpoint because it is a dangerous thing.
Yes, 100%.
So that was the end of that. So people don't say we're not fair. Fair.
Listen, I feel the same way across the board.
Right across the board. It's at this point where, especially when it's
as someone outside of fighting, as someone who's slightly out or on the tiptoe of the out to get out of there, you have to if you want to grow it.
Yep.
As a fighter, as a pure fighter, Come on, man, suck it up. Let's go.
Yep.
As somebody who's looking to grow our sport, you have to play within the lines. You have to keep things accountable for everything.
Mm-hmm. So, All right. So now we go to the second grappling match, which was Gregorio versus Angel Rodriguez. Gregorio Orzico versus Angel Rodriguez.
These dudes look to be brown, right? Brown belts. Do they give you their rankings?
Yeah, I guess, man. I don't know.
All right. So
it was one tap out.
Right. Off a guillotine
in the first round.
Yeah. Right away. You don't got much on that one.
I mean, it just became it was the same fight the rest of the match.
Yeah.
Angel had got like wrapped up his Gregorio's right leg with his legs, like he's kind of on his thigh.
Mm-hmm.
And he was trying to go for like angle locks and 50, stuff like that.
Position and going, I from what I saw.
Then he was spinning them, like he would have him like rolling them over to the cage. End up getting to the cage at some point. They rolled, and he kept trying to get it, and that was pretty much the match. So that was the whole entire match.
I'm looking at if I'm looking at it correctly, I'm seeing a 50-50 guard into a heel hook position, trying to pull the ankle across. And when you pull the ankle across, you have to roll with it to get out of that. Because if you don't roll with it, your ankle and knee twist and reap. So
yeah, that's pretty much the whole match. It was just Angel was trying to force it, and
they have to. So my limited knowledge of both of these fighters, they have to be brown belts at least, because a lot of times you don't get into those leg locking situations without them, and knowing how to do the proper defenses in a timely manner. So
yeah, I mean that was pretty much the end of the match. I mean, like the next two rounds was Angel trying to figure out a way to get it, and Gregorio just pretty much
rolling out of it and
just stopping him in everything he tried to do. He would try and get those heel hooks and all that other stuff you just said. Mm-hmm. and then that was he would try and do something else to like break it or whatever. And that was pretty much the fight. It was just,
and those guys were like 145,
somewhere around there. Okay. Just saying, it's somewhere around there. Somebody. All right.
Yeah.
So next we get to
teams, right?
Teams. Yeah.
These are the last two teams.
Something that came up with, and we had to check this, but I don't remember anybody from Ben's ever losing in Virtual Fight Tour yet. Did Brianna lose?
Brianna lost to Emma Cullinan. She lost in the team. That
was the only loss that they've had in Virtual Fight Tour.
Tyreek lost to Bailey in the beginning.
Oh, that is correct.
But he's technically top 10 USA, correct, even though he is a Ben's martial artist.
He's still Ben's, man.
I know. That's why I said he represents top 10 USA, right, even though he's a Ben's martial artist.
I was going to say, because they
have my bases. They've been on fire.
Brianna's been killing it. Shaq had just won. Brianna's 2-1. Shaq had just won. They won. They won this fight against Team Leclerc. With this was a very
close.
Good.
It's like it, man.
This was a very good fight. Both sides were going at it. Man, this thing was entertaining. You didn't really know who was going to win. Because if I'm not mistaken, they went into overtime and had to go. Did they have to win by? No, yeah, they went to overtime and then they did the flip, and so they had a whole minute.
Yes, a minute
of who was going to fight and win. And man, let me tell you, these boys were going at it. Like I gotta remember everything that happened in this particular fight. But the first fight, I think the Benz were up at the end of the first round.
No. As I'm reading Jackson's, it says, set the tone as Robert Leclerc Jr. Lifted his squad to an early lead against Josiah. And then Mike Lettieri added to the lead in the second round as he took on Shaq, who was fatigued from an earlier bout. And then it was the third round that was the deciding factor, where apparently Jesse said, my man went on a body punch frenzy.
He did, but I don't think that was it.
Okay. I'm just reading.
Because if I'm not mistaken, I thought that the Benz was up at the end of the first round. the clerks came back and tied it, and then it just went into this craziness of where Tyler Leclerc had got up, and then Aaron had to come back.
Oh, okay.
And then it just got to be back. I'm like, literally, though, Chris, I think like this fight, that last particular fight, literally was he scored, I'm coming right back. He scored, I'm coming back. It was literally like a test of wheels in this thing. Like it just came like he scored, and as soon as he said go, the other person just came off that line and just pop. That was so entertaining, man. Like I was just sitting there watching them go back and forth and all of that. I was just like, yo, this is nuts. But each fight was like close, and they like different people took the momentum of their round.
Right.
And you can hear everybody in the building like cheering and going crazy because it was just that exciting of a match.
That's the best.
It was great, man. That fight was great. And then I think towards the end, Aaron, I think he got maybe 2 or 3 points in a row, and then kind of like wasted time a little bit. Got kind of moved in overtime. I think he got 3 points in a row, and he was basically up 2.
Okay.
And then I think Tyler Leclerc has scored 1 extra point at the end, and then but time ran out, and Aaron, and that was it. I think that's how, if I'm not mistaken. But that fight was so entertaining. It was a very entertaining fight, especially after that grappling match. I'm sorry.
And it happens like that, but man, we talk about it before. That's the event.
Yeah. But yeah, that one was kind of like, you just kind of like, whoa, all right, that team match was just nail on the head like that right there. It just went back and forth. It was a really good fight, man. So congratulations to Team Benz. They did an awesome job there. Yeah. All right.
And
now it's the main event. The 3-rounder.
The rated Virtual Fight Tour match.
Brianna Nurse versus Audrey Malik. So Audrey was being coached by Gina Thornton.
Okay.
But she was also being coached by Richard Plow. I didn't realize what was happening until the 3rd round.
Okay.
Because I after the 1st round, I saw Audrey with Gina had the phone to Audrey. So I thought Gina was recording the fight and it's showing, hey, like, don't do this, blah, 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 blah. But
she was
between the 2nd and 3rd round, I realized, because I saw Audrey sitting there with the phone like this, like this, and she was kind of sitting there, and I was like, oh no, that's FaceTime. She's being FaceTime right now by my uncle. Oh, okay. I know what's actually happening right now. She's being coached that way. Cool. Got it. So but that fight was interesting because I think the first couple points may have gone to Brianna, and she kind of got her lead. And Brianna was just so relaxed. That was the thing. You could see that it was more Audrey was not as relaxed as Brianna was in that 1st round. But actually she wasn't not relaxed. Brianna just had this confident,
she had that swag. She was
aura about her, I'm about to win this, and just kind of just picking her shots. Got to an early lead. Late in that 1st round, Audrey kind of picked up the pace just a little bit and got some points back. And so I think it was maybe like 5-2 or something like that, or 5-3 or 6-3, something like that. And then the 2nd round, you could see Audrey picked up the pace a bit even more, but Brianna was still in control. One of the things I liked about Brianna was whenever Audrey would kick, Brianna was throwing axe kicks over it, like, and
pushing it down, and hitting that calf and pushing it down.
Well, no, it was coming close to hitting her in the head. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, it was like she was throwing it and she was coming over it, but it was coming close, and Audrey, it was just missing her. But it started making Audrey a little hesitant to throw that leg like that because Brianna was coming around it.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. And so and and she was throwing. They were just exchanging fights. And I think Brianna won that round too. So going into the third round, I think Audrey had a decisive enough lead, decisive enough disadvantage at this time. She was down, but the third round she started pushing.
Right.
Third round she started to really push and started to close the gap, and then Brianna blasted Audrey, just right down the pipe, bang. Yeah.
So, which one of y'all?
She blasted Audrey. So then it was like for like maybe 10 or 15 seconds of Audrey second guessing when she's going to come in, because Audrey got the point, but Brianna hit her. Right?
I know how those exchanges work.
Exactly. Brianna hit her, so it was like, oh, okay. But then it was almost as if Audrey said, "Screw it." She kept going. She kept blitzing, like boom, and Brianna kept hitting her, but Audrey was getting the point. And she was coming back. Yeah, she was coming back. And honestly, if there had been if she didn't have that 10-second delay or 15-second delay,
where there's that hesitation in the second guess, she may have gotten that.
She might have pulled
overtime.
She might have pulled the comeback
Nice.
against Brianna, but she fell short. Brianna had won. She had a large enough lead, and she won 15-14. But that was an interesting.
Man,
fight.
it sounds like an exciting card. I'm
to
catch this on the replay.
It was, man. I have to give them credit. Like with the exception of the first fight,
right? There was only the one definitive win. The rest of them were back and forth.
You know, I was a little disappointed because I wanted to see Daryl and
Rivera
finish that fight.
We were talking about that was one of the ones we were excited about.
It was very
off the Virtual Fight Tour 5 team fight event. Like, I was pretty stoked.
Daryl fought
Sheldon.
Isn't that ironic?
What?
Well, Sheldon got knocked out.
He did the rocking and then he got rocked.
Then he got rocked. That's ironic. I guess
what goes around comes around, and sometimes faster than others. But
that is interesting.
That's one of the commentaries that I found funny over the right after it happened, because that's the one that came up. It was like, well, live by the sword, die by the sword, and I was like,
oh, somebody said that. I didn't see that.
Yeah, it was one of the comments underneath somebody's comment. Like, they were talking about it. Like, yeah, that's what happens when you hit hard. You tried to hit him hard in the first round, dropped him to his knee, and came back to you. And then somebody was like, yeah, he's the one that rocked dude in the tournament. Yeah, and then the team fight. And I was like, yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're the rock, and sometimes you're the egg. I guess.
Yeah, man. Because that was kind of interesting. I just thought about that. I was like, wait a minute. Oh,
that and the Kevin and Jawan fight, I think, were the two I was the most hyped up on because of the potential for action and heavy action.
Yeah,
obviously.
They had it.
That's 50-50. Jiu-jitsu is 50-50. It can be the craziest, most exciting, amazing submission and match you can see, or you want to take a nap while the match is going on because nothing's happening, or they're moving at such an inch by inch, and then I get 3 inches, and then you take away, and then you move, and then you get, and then I give, and it's just it's such a weird. It's either the most exciting sport in the world, and you just saw somebody get choked out with a shin, a forearm, and a foot. Like, wait, how did that happen? Or you get two guys just laying in one spot, not moving. And
that's pretty much that fight.
Yeah, I mean, because if, say the one dude was trying to grab a hold of the legs, right? And Gregorio wasn't letting him. Angel had the legs and Gregorio didn't want him. If Gregorio would have just like tried to kick him off and move out real fast, then he gives up his heel.
That was interesting. It was at one point both of them pulled guard at the same time, and it was just a weird looking thing. And that's how the fight was. They were just regular ready. Just went straight down, and it was just like,
I'm going to sit on my butt and you're going to get on top of me and I'm going to tap you out.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
We had a pre-meeting when I did mine where Jean-Claude was like, "Hey, y'all go for takedowns. There ain't no pulling guard." I was like, "All right, say less."
That was the interesting thing about the Will fight was that Pinson kept pulling guard, and it was like, okay.
Well, that's a 50.
And then Will would, as sometimes Will took him down, tackled him like bang. Because I guess he said he used to wrestle, so he was just kind of like.
And see, I would pull guard at that too, because when you have 30 pounds and you have somebody standing up, being able to slam you down or take you down, it's easier on the body to just go, you know what? I'm going to come down here. You're going to come on top of me, and then we're going to wrestle without the dynamics. That's the thing about jiu-jitsu and why we take you to the ground, because I need to stop the kinetic chain of energy that allows for that dynamic knockout, right? So I get you to the ground where you can't. Well, that's one of the four. That's the number one reason. That's the number one rule in jiu-jitsu. There are 4 steps in jiu-jitsu, pretty much. The first step is to get it on the floor where you can't knock me out. Now there's evenness. Then I got to get around your legs, and when I get around your legs are stronger. So I got to get around that to control that. Then I got to put you in a series of positions to get into an advantage for me, and then I figure out a way to finish the fight, whether it be via submission or in later life, once I use it, get you down, then I can punch you from a dominant position.
So let me ask this question.
Go ahead.
If you're fighting somebody and you realize that they could probably knock you out, and just say, because we always go to the street, if this happens on the street, and that person drops to like, I guess,
go ahead.
They drop down to try and like, I need to. And if somebody just decides to grab a chair and starts beating the crap out of you with the chair, do you guys have something that's like, I mean,
okay, so people people have this argument all the time, right? They got the debate. We'll use the debate. And debate sounds more civil. People have the debate. What is better? Is it boxing? Is it Muay Thai? Is it jiu-jitsu? Is it wrestling? Everything has their strengths and their weaknesses. If you have a boxer who doesn't know how to deal with somebody who takes you, grabs you, slams you, tackles you, gets on top of you, say mounts you, and then starts throwing punches, I don't care if you're a world champion boxer. You could be Floyd Mayweather getting taken down by some high school wrestler and start punching you in the face, and your boxing skills, your slipping, your angles mean absolutely nothing. Now you have, on the other hand, where you're on the ground and you're trying to put me in a triangle choke. I reach in my pocket and I grab a little knife and I start poking you. You're lost. You want to get on the ground and you want to tackle me, and I got a friend with me, my homie's going to start stomping you out. So you have to understand, and you have to have a little bit of knowledge in a little bit of everything. You don't have to be a jack of all trades, but you can't be a master of none. Like you got.
That's my thing. That's why I tell people when they start having that conversation, what's going to happen if I'm like,
you're going to have to get close.
Real world. What if happens if I start biting you or just grab your dick? I mean, grab you, start
jug.
Yeah, like, like what do you want me to do? Like
it's a life or death, man. There ain't no rules,
right? And so, I'm like, so don't have those conversations. That's why I was like, don't have those conversations about as far as like
what's realer,
what's better. Yeah, like what that's not wouldn't work in real life. I'm like, real life is nasty. If you haven't realized that, like the real fight is nasty. It never goes like you think.
Quick and
it just happens. Only people I say don't fight is the military people, because they literally have been trained to kill. And wrestling.
Engagement are different.
Professional wrestlers, because they have
like WWE.
Yep. You know why? They're so crazy and so hopped off of pills and alcohol and drugs. That's just some people that you just like, you know what? You a little off. Like I'm not going nowhere near you. You're a little weird.
Ears.
Yeah, like no, y'all a little weird, man. Y'all jumping through tables, taking like literally in order for somebody to
getting body slammed on tacks. Who?
Yeah. But then they literally are cutting themselves. Like, you know how crazy you have to be to want to cut yourself.
Now you going old school. You going super old school. Little bit of thin razors, little Vaseline.
Yeah, razors all across their forehead, like just bleeding. Like, what is wrong with y'all? Like,
Trev, you're bringing it back, baby.
I'm just saying, like, they just nuts, man. Like, Nah, man, I can't have nothing to do with y'all, man.
Nope. I typically try not to fight nobody because you never know what they got, what they know. You
Right.
know what I mean? You're 100%. You look
Unless
at the dude with the
fight.
Yeah. Well, then it don't matter. If I got to fight, it don't matter who you are. People
I gotta find a way to beat you.
Watch out with the dudes with the ugly ears and that have a good fighting stance. If a dude comes up to you like this, don't worry about that. They come in with tucked in chin. They got jacked up ears. Oh yeah, that's true.
They can't see you, brother.
I'm still used to being on the live.
Oh, water.
Ooh, yummy.
Water. Yeah, I know. I had some water left over.
Oh, and listen, the one thing I did catch on the way back was the Black Beast.
Oh,
UFC. That's why you don't always go in with a takedown, Derek Lewis.
Lewis, yeah.
That's why you don't always come in with that takedown. Pow, a short uppercut might get you. Oof.
And it was a lightweight boxing match that the dude came in. He threw that left hand. He just crumbled. Literally, all his whole body just crumbled.
Everything just looked like he pushed the button. Boop.
Yeah, he just went. I was like, oh, that was nasty.
Someone needs to do that and play that clip with the Windows log out sound. No.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would be worth it for me.
Hold on. So this Saturday, no, let me take this out because it's gonna be music, and I don't want to play that music. What's the name of this thing? Oh yeah, Saturday.
Yes,
there's a basketball game.
Okay,
6 o'clock down here in Atlanta. It's called Buns and Basketball.
What time's the game?
6 p.m. and it's women who are wearing like tank tops and like bikinis. Like they're
like lingerie football league, but with basketball players now.
I mean, I think they're wearing less than the lingerie football players are wearing.
I mean, they don't got pads.
I mean, when I say butt is all out, it is all butts out, like just butts and sneakers, and they got like a thong on, and that's literally it.
Buns and basketball. Huh?
Buns and basketball, people. That's Saturday. A friend of mine sent me this, and he's like, "It's in Atlanta too," and I was like, "Of course it is."
Of course, listen, we out. Sun's out, guns out, buns out.
Buns and basketball, like it's called, and Thick Overload Entertainment presents it.
I'm not looking it up for research purposes or anything.
I'm just saying, it just, yeah, you're going anyway.
I don't do this very often, but since I just want to give a pre-shout out on Thursday. It's my wife's birthday. So while I have a small platform, I would like to wish my wife a pre or early birthday. I love you. Yeah, I don't really talk about my family too much on the pod, my crazy children, but that's about it. So
yeah,
I'm good after that.
How old is your daughter's birthday coming up in like a couple months?
March 30th.
Yeah. I was going to say, yeah, it should be around that same time. Around the same time last year, we couldn't do the pod because she was like, oh, nope.
Hey,
my
guy.
It just lockdown had just happened, so I was just like, well, skip it, man. Don't worry about it. We're just not gonna have a pod this week. It's just like
it's good. It was gonna be 30 minutes. It was gonna be 30 minutes anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now,
yeah, we back on it.
We back, baby. We back, peoples. We back, and we about to get out of here because we got nothing else to talk about.
No,
not really. Anyway.
Oh,
so
close us out. You play with that beautiful saxophone.
Yes,
Trav, that's you, right?
I wish. She does some crazy stuff on her Instagram. She plays some stuff. She does some duets with people. Make sure you guys listen to us. Make sure y'all listen to Biscuits and Flicks tomorrow with hold on.
He said, hold on. He paused for the cause.
Yeah. Hold on real quick. People. I don't know what's going on with them. But like at the end of every show, they taking shots at us.
Oh, hold on, fam.
So last week, it wasn't even Angel did last week.
Okay.
So Gene was like, I don't understand why CTE hasn't changed their name. And I was like, I didn't say anything. I'm just, I'm in the back just kind of watching. And he was like, I don't understand why they haven't changed it to from CTE to TLC.
Y'all chasing waterfalls.
Yeah, and that came up. I think Angel started saying that or something like that. I'm like, oh, okay. What is this? I'm like, yo, is Joe gonna give us heat tomorrow? Like, is Joe Hartley gonna take a shot at us? I'm like, what did we do to y'all? Just take it straight. And then Angel got on live and said some more stuff. So,
oh, Angel, I gotta go back and watch that. Oh no, Angel.
Yeah, man. They I'm just like, dang, they taking shots at us, but all right.
Boom.
We got something for y'all, man. We got something for y'all in a minute, man. I'm gonna do that. But anyway, let me get back
How's
to
that? Oh, 8 a.m.
Yes, 8 a.m. See y'all next week. Make sure y'all listen to Biscuits and Flicks and Inside Scoop. We out.